Riley. From Jedco, we're happy to have President and CEO Jerry Bologna. From Entergy, Patrick Hamby. From Cox, again, Sharon Truxillo. Our Director of Emergency Management, Mr. Joe Valiente. Our East Bank Fire Chief, Chief Dave Tibbetts. From Marrero Harvey, our Fire Chief, Don Robertson. He's going to be standing in for Chief Brian Adams, who's in Grand Isle. Our Director of Public Works, Mark Drews, is going to be joining us. He's in the meeting right now, as well as our Chief Administrative Assistant, Sarah Babcock. So, with that, very good news today. Boil water advisory lifted for all of Upper Jefferson and Lafitte. So thank you, Mark, and all your teams. I know you've worked so hard to build up that water pressure. Thank you, Entergy, for getting our treatment plants, powered up, and the samples came back from the Louisiana Department of Health. Again, the boil water advisory lifted for all of Upper Jefferson and Lafitte. Okay. Patrick Hamby, I know the question in Upper Jefferson is largely about Patrick Hamby and the electricity, so he will speak directly on that. Again, I spent the day going throughout the parish, from Kenner to Lafitte today. I was able to see the new enclosed bridge on Lafitte. I was actually able to get on that bridge. That was wonderful. Hopefully it's going to open tomorrow. Very impressive operation by DOTD and our Louisiana National Guard. I want to thank them for that. That bridge is so critical for people who are, especially on the Barataria side, and just want access to their homes. So as you knew, the swing bridge got hit on the storm, and that really just absolutely crippled transportation in that area. So I'm sure Lieutenant Colonel Riley will give more details, but I was very impressed with that operation today. Was also able to visit our employees at the Jefferson Protection and Animal Welfare Services at our West Bank location. These employees have been working so hard since before the storm. I'm so very impressed with them. There was still about 125 animals at the West Bank location. They even saved a pig from drowning in Lafitte. The pig was still there. They were able to get over 300 animals out pre-storm. So it was really, they saved a lot of animals, and I want to thank our employees for going above and beyond. And when I thank them, they wanted to thank so many other people who helped us care for the animals and get them out of harm's way. So they wanted me to specifically mention these groups. The Houston Humane Society took almost 3 transports out. They took the majority of animals out of the area for us. The Houston SPCA, San Antonio SPCA, the ASPCA, Louisiana State Animal Response Team, International Fund for Animal Welfare, Brandywine, Humane Society of Louisiana, and the Big Dog Ranch Rescue from Palm Beach, Florida. So just looking at the animals, and you see the volunteer efforts that we have had from outside is just incredible. So we want to thank them for that. Now, they're tired. They've been working really hard. They are in need of volunteers. So if you're an animal lover and are ready to volunteer, obviously in times like this, sometimes giving back to the community is exactly what you need. Renee is our volunteer coordinator. So her email, and she wants anybody interested in volunteering, is ryeaton@jeffparish.net. That's ryeaton@jeffparish.net. And you would be volunteering at our West Bank facility at 2701 Lapalco Boulevard. Okay, Sarah's going to talk more about sheltering, but as you know, and I mentioned before, we were getting a lot of people out of the area before the storm. The days after the storm. We've kind of changed that model, and if you need assistance, the assistance is still there, but we're going to keep you local. So we're going to keep you at Kings Grant, and in the next following days, as the electricity comes back, we will look at bringing our people and our citizens who are in Alexandria or Bastrop back home, and Sarah has been working on the plan for that. So make certain everybody understands we still have sheltering options, but you will be remaining local, and you won't have to go out of town for that. So again, call us if you need assistance at 504-349-5360 for your local sheltering options. We've also made a request with DCFS to stand up a Center for Benefits for registration for DSNAP, the Disaster Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. So stay tuned for us for more information on that, but that is something we're working on. I'm glad Cox is here. Ms. Sharon Truxillo is here. I invite AT&T as well to come here and give a briefing on your efforts. You're welcome anytime to come and address our large base of customers in Jefferson Parish. But thank you, Ms. Truxillo, for being with us here again tonight. We really appreciate that. Because electricity is still not full speed, and I know they're working very hard on it, and I know it's been a lot of rain, and Patrick, and I've seen it myself, those men and women working in the rain to get us up and going, and I've seen so many trucks. But we're going to go ahead and extend the nightly curfew until Friday, September 10th at 6 a.m., just to coincide with making sure everybody has their electricity back. So again, nightly curfew is extended. It's the curfew from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., and we're going to go through Friday, September 10th at 6 a.m. A lot of stuff going on in Grand Isle. Our water director has been down in Grand Isle all day assessing that systems. We have team members on the ground in Grand Isle from obviously our Grand Isle Fire Department, who's been there the whole time, Louisiana Sheriff's Association, Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office, Louisiana National Guard, our EMS teams, as well as our very own Chief Brian Adams. So their first mission is removing low-hanging poles and wires from the roadway. Obviously, this was a very huge concern, very dangerous situation for nighttime travelers. That mission was fully completed today. Police are manning the checkpoint, maintaining overall security of the island, and ensuring the safety of our recovery workers. I know energy contractors are moving in and staging a laydown yard for equipment and supplies so they can rebuild the process. Patrick might have more on it, but my reports show that there are 50 workers on the island and 12 to 15 heavy pieces of equipment, and they will begin a 24-hour operation by the end of next week. And we are sending a lot of, obviously, much water, food, and supplies as possible for their support. Again, I mentioned Lafitte, the construction of the military bridge is complete, but the pilings are there to hold the bridge in place. They anticipate this will be operational by tomorrow morning. And again, Lieutenant Colonel Riley might give you more details on that bridge. We had distributions today at Johnny Jacobson Marrero and the Golden Age Center in Tarrytown. I know many of our council members have been very involved in these food distributions. As the days go on, again, we might not know about all of these donations. They come to us quickly. We try to get them out quickly. But please, if you know of anyone wanting to donate, donations at jeffparish.net. We've been able to really centralize those locations and get a lot of activity going on throughout the parish because we certainly know the need is still there. Our pod distribution from Louisiana National Guard, all 4 locations are up and running every day, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Again, I say this every night, but it's Alario Center in Westwego, Helen Cox School in Harvey, the Shrine on Airline in Metairie, and Johnny Bright Playground in Metairie as well. Lots of things going on in Public Works System. I'm going to let Mark Drews give that update, but again, another very fruitful and productive day from our teams. I mentioned this last night again. Transit, Lifeline, which is a limited transit, is now available. This is fare-free, no money to you, during the recovery phase for our IDA residents to obtain necessary resources. This is going to be 8:30 to 4 p.m., Monday through Saturday on the following routes, just these limited routes, because we know people need to get their essentials. So it's E1 Veterans, E2 Airline, E3 Kenner Local, W1 Avondale, W3 Lapalco, and W10 Huey P. Long. I mentioned this, and this is up and running, the FEMA Mobile Registration Intake Center that started, and it is a drive-up site. This is a location open from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., 7 days a week until further notice. And the site is located at our Jefferson Parish Health Unit at 1855 Ames Boulevard in Marrero. So FEMA is available for those whose primary residence, both renters and owners, sustain damage, and they're going to provide in-person registration. Again, I say this all the time, the official website for FEMA is disasterassistance.gov or 1-800-621-3362. Make sure if anybody is asking you for your information, you're either at this mobile site or you're on the official website or the official phone number. Okay? BlueRoof.us is the Blue Roof program, or 888-ROOF-BLUE. We've already had over 14,000 registered people in Jefferson Parish for this program. Again, this Blue Roof program is a Corps of Engineers run for FEMA program. So we all know our offices are closed this week, our Catholic school system is closed this week, and our public school system is closed this week. So stay tuned for more information on all of these systems, okay? Students and a lot of employees in all of these systems, so just stay tuned. And the other night, as I mentioned, we had Jim Donnellan, the Commissioner of Insurance, with us. I'm going to give that number again for any of your insurance questions, 1-800-259-5300. Press option number 4. And before I end, I want to thank, just got an email before I got in here, of all the firefighters in Lafitte from Texas. Parker County, Lufkin County, Athens, Hewitt, Waco, Beaumont, and Bedford. And the past couple days, I have met so many people from DMAT teams, law enforcement, so many people who left their families to come here to our community to help us. Project Hope at medical shelters. So I just want to say, right now, you're not seeing everything we can offer, our food, our music, our hospitality. I hope you're able to enjoy some of that time while you're here. But if not, you need to come back later with your families and enjoy it when we're stronger and better, and you know that you were part of our rebuilding process. So a special thank you to all of the recovery workers here. This is not your home, but you're here helping us rebuild our home. I want to thank you for that. Okay, next we have our Jefferson Parish Sheriff, Sheriff Joseph Lapinto.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm not going to repeat a lot of what you said just a second ago, but I want to encourage anybody that's coming back in town. I said this last night, and it really came to fruition today. If you had a burglary while you were out of town, whether it's your business or whether it's your home, please report it to us. As I've said a lot, we have not had widespread reports of crime in Jefferson Parish. But as of yesterday, we had 152 burglaries. That's vehicle, businesses, and homes. For a population that size, that is not extreme. But twice today, it actually worked. On September 1st, we stopped an individual with obvious stolen property, a lot of stolen property on him. We were able to identify that person, take the property, make arrests for additional charges. Well, sure enough, a person came home today to report a burglary at their house, devastated with the amount of stuff that they lost, which was very expensive. And sure enough, we had already recovered it a week earlier. We were able to reunite that family with that property. We made another arrest with a search warrant today, where we located a lot of stolen property that we were able to connect with probably 4 other burglaries in that same neighborhood. So although we may not have a lead for your particular burglary, we may have made an arrest of an individual that burglarized somebody in your block. And we may be able to have some of that property that we can return to you and make additional charges. So however small it is, whatever the case may be, please report it to us so we have the opportunity to do so. Look, my burglary section, my entire criminal investigation bureau, that is what their job is this week, to go follow up on all those burglaries, to see who had cameras running with generators during the storm, to be able to see what additional evidence that we have and we may be able to put together. So make sure that we report it to do what we can. The curfew is still going to be in effect until Friday morning at 8 a.m. We were going to have it expire tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. But we're extending that till Friday. We have still 60% of the power is out in Jefferson Parish. We want to make sure we keep that into effect. So that way we have less cars out there on the street. I know we're going to have people that are still going back and forth to work and do certain things. I ask people to stay on the main thoroughfares. If you're in the neighborhood, expect to be stopped by the sheriff's office. We're going to be out there aggressively in the neighborhood, stopping people after curfew to make sure that you belong in the neighborhood. So it allows us to prevent the burglaries that can happen at this point in time. So the curfew will stay in effect at least until Friday. If energy comes back like we hope it will, we'll probably have it expire at that point in time, but as of now, we'll keep it in effect for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. Lieutenant Colonel Barry Riley from the Louisiana National Guard.
Thank you, Madam President. Good evening. I'll start with the distribution as of 1600 today at our POW locations. We still have the 4 POW locations. I'll give you the totals to date. Vehicles to date, over 48,000. MREs, which is meals ready to eat, 450,000. Water bottles to date, 596,000. Ice per pound, 816,000. And then tarps, 5,300. And that's the total to date. We continue to assist with security operations throughout the parish. We're at 13 sites to include some mobile patrols. We continue our efforts of route clearance in Grand Isle. We have 3 separate units working to clear roadways to allow for trafficability for emergency operations and clearance and DPW works. As the parish president alluded to, the bridging capabilities are now in Lafitte. That bridge spans over 175 meters. It's going to be one-way traffic. It should be open sometime tomorrow morning, preferably between the hours of 6 to 8, and it will allow for citizens to cross back and forward over that wet gap. We continue to provide communication support with our joint integrated satellite teams down in Grand Isle, air, water, land. Without question, we are honored to protect what matters. Thank you.
Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel Riley. So we're very happy to have representing the business community, because I know many of our businesses are looking for resources and additional information. So from JEDCO, the President and CEO, Mr. Jerry Bologna.
Thank you, Madam President, and I want to start. I have 3 quick announcements for the business community, but I want to thank the nearly 18,000 businesses that call Jefferson Parish home, and I want to thank the parish president, the council, the sheriff, and all of these first responders for securing this community and getting it ready for your return. We've been letting the recovery process play out, but we have, within hours of Hurricane Ida touching down here, we have been responding to business needs throughout the parish. We have a complete inventory of business resources on the JEDCO website, so we encourage everyone to go to www.jedco.org. You'll find an entire list of the resources available to you. We are also asking every business to complete the survey. It's a brief survey that we have on our website. This is how we know what needs you have that we can respond to, where we can offer technical assistance, and what types of assistance we can provide. So please, we encourage every business to complete that survey. JEDCO has some office space available. We're calling this transitional space. We're going to offer this on a half-day basis. So if you have a need to come in, use the internet, have some air conditioning, and start your business operations, we encourage you to come use our office space. This is by reservation, so please call JEDCO at 504-875-3916, or you can email us at info@jedco.org to make a reservation for one of those office spaces. And then finally, this Thursday at 10:30 a.m., we're going to be hosting a webinar that will include Louisiana Department of Insurance Commissioner Jim Donlin. He will talk about business continuity and business insurance matters. We'll also have our partners from Adams and Reese Law Firm discussing the many federal resources, both FEMA and SBA loans that will be available to you. So I'm encouraging all of you, as this team behind me continues to get this community ready for reentry. If you're a business owner, we need you back now more than ever. Come back, and encouraging the community now more than ever to also support your local businesses. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jerry. Next, we're going to have Patrick Hamby from Entergy.
All right, thank you very much. Patrick Hamby on behalf of Entergy Louisiana. So we still have thousands of linemen spread all across the parish and the affected areas of the state. That includes vegetation workers, along with tons and tons of equipment. That's heavy-duty trucks, special rear alley equipment getting behind the homes. We're climbing poles behind the homes when needed. It's a daunting task, but it's something we're up for. I mentioned not a million, but it feels like it. It's a marathon, and we are trying to safely sprint that marathon. There are many, many factors involved in the restoration process, the key factor being safety. And we want all these linemen who have come, 26,000 plus from 41 states, to go back home to their family after they have made the lights available so that you can come back home with your family. So there was rain in the forecast yesterday, today, and tomorrow. That brings a lot of questions from customers, political stakeholders, business stakeholders of all kinds. Is that going to slow down the process? The answer is yes, it can, but I'll describe the work in rain safety protocol, kind of generally touch on the high points to ease your mind. So every site that we go to, regardless of if it's raining or not, we do something that's called a JHA, and if you bump into some of the linemen, they get out to site, they stop their trucks, and you may say, hey, these guys aren't doing anything for a while, but what they do, we used to call it a tailboard. They get on the back of the truck and they look at it. It's a job hazard analysis or assessment. They go through every facet of the job, make sure that, just like I said, safety is key so that no one gets hurt or worse, and they're able to go back to their family as well. So what that involves is when there's bad weather, obviously you take that into a factor as well, in addition to everything else that you're considering when you're considering whether a job is safe to go forward with or maybe to halt or stand down until the conditions are better. The factors for the forecast of rain would include dangerous winds. I've mentioned it many times. If you have winds of 30 miles an hour or greater, we cannot do aerial work. The buckets can't get up in the air. We can't do the hot sticks, those long yellow sticks that you see us working on, because of the simple fact the wind or the gust of wind can blow that equipment into our facilities, causing injury to not our employees and damage to the equipment, which would set us back even further and take longer. The other thing, obviously, is visibility from the rain. If the rain is coming down too hard and you can't safely see to do your job, that's a time to pause. And obviously, lightning. If there is lightning 10 miles in the area, we will halt and stop work. Lightning could be and will be, if it hits you, not a fun thing, because you probably will lose your life. Ultimately, though, if it's determined to be safe, as was the case in the majority of the rain that we've had yesterday and today, we continue with our work. We work in the rain. It does not slow us. It slows us down a little bit because you have to take an extra precaution and make sure you move with precision and do everything just right. So the short answer to the question, does rain halt work or stop work or slow it down? It could be all three, and we just have to use our analysis, that job hazard analysis or assessment, to make sure everything is safe. So regarding the damages, again, historic damages all over the state, over 30,500 damaged or downed poles, compared to Katrina's, which everyone will never forget, of 17,000 poles, almost twice the amount. So again, that's what we're up against. It's a daunting task. It's overwhelming. How do you do it? How do you plan for it? We got that large number of 26,000, around 26,000 plus restoration workers from 41 states. Again, we're not going to get Hawaii. We're not getting Alaska. The whole country is supporting us. They have your back. They have our back. We're here for you. To put the work in perspective, you know that there's a lot of homes that were damaged or totally lost. In order to rebuild a home that's damaged or totally lost to the extent where you have to rebuild from the ground up, foundation, plumbing, wire, framing, roof, everything, you're looking at probably, 6 to 8 months, maybe longer, depending on how big the home is. That's one house, 6 to 8 months or longer. If you consider in your mind all the materials that are used to build one house, a stack of 2x4 or some other wood, you could probably fill it in a relatively small area. If you go to our staging sites, you look at the millions of pounds of equipment, that's poles, transformers, cross arms, thousands and thousands of miles of wire that we have to restring. Those 30,500 poles across the state. We're going to try to do that in less than 1 month in most places. That is incredible. So just think about that for a while. Think about all the things that go into rebuilding a home, and then just put it in perspective and give us the time, the patience, and understanding of what we're doing and what it seems like to be an insurmountable task. We're moving mountains, but it happens to be mountains of downed poles, entangled wires, trees, and the such, and that's just step one, to clear the path so that we can basically rebuild the whole electrical distribution system. So I will mention this, the restoration activities I'm going to get into, but we're getting large chunks of power on all over the parish, except for the hardest hit areas, of course. But we have gotten feeders on, and that means, the electrical feeder that feeds thousands of people, neighborhoods, whole neighborhoods perhaps. Once they're on, there's a possibility, just like any other day, we're going to have this rain I mentioned come through. If there's a lightning strike, some sort of vegetation that falls, there's a potential for the power to go out again, just like any other normal day. And that did happen in parts of Kenner. We did have some bad weather go through. The feeder was on. Everyone was joyous, and I was too. Something happened with the weather going through. The lights went out. However, we're responding to those types of outages as well. It was a minimal amount, maybe a couple of hours, and then the lights were back on. So be patient with that too. There may be other activities where we get your lights on down the road throughout the restoration event. We will have to come proactively de-energize, and your lights will go out again so that we can safely do some more permanent work down the feeder to make sure that the permanent work is done and the lights are on for good. So that will happen. I just want to make you aware. So I'll get into the restoration activities. The parish president hit on this. It is a huge, huge step forward moving into Grand Isle. We're getting started there. It is a long road. It is a total rebuild. For our system, it'll be much more accelerated than the communities and their rebuilding efforts. I believe Chief Brian Adams, after his visit there, his first visit, envisioned a 3 to 5 year rebuild for the whole community to become back where it was in the pre-storm days. We will not be anywhere near that, but we have a lot of work to do down there, and we are committed. Like I said, we're already staged down there. They witnessed it, the parish president, and we are committed, and we are not leaving until that work is done there as well. So I'll get into the peak outage numbers and the restoration efforts. Again, it was 204,370 peak outages, essentially the whole parish of Jefferson. Right now, we have 128,000 that remain out. That seems like a very large number. I'm going to get into that in just a second. We've restored power, and that was as of an hour or so ago to 76,400 customers. We're continuing work right now on large projects. We've been building this system, rebuilding it from the ground up. Basically, you're going to have a brand new system in most places of the parish where you had the most damages. That takes a lot of time, but we're getting close to bringing on 6 to 8 feeders at a time here tonight, potentially, huge chunks of customers, and that's going to anticipate getting closer to that vast majority of customers restored by tomorrow. And when I say tomorrow, we're not working 9 to 5 business days, business as usual. I'm talking about by 11:59 p.m. tomorrow night. We will have, and our goal is to have the vast majority on. That is an estimate. There are unforeseen circumstances that could happen between now and then that could set us back a little bit, but that's okay. We're still going to move forward, and we are going to get your lights on as safely and quickly as possible. I mentioned the 128,000 that remain out. A large portion of that includes the whole parish. That includes homes that are gone. These are accounts that we have, 128,000 accounts that remain without power. Many of those, a significant amount of those, will not be able to take power. There are homes that are totally gone. There are homes that are damaged. There are simple things such as weatherheads and meter pans that are damaged, that where they cannot take power. The customers physically will not be able to take power. So when we get to that vast majority, that denominator of 128,000 is really not 128,000, because a good portion of that number cannot take power due to damages to their home. So we do coordinate with Cox and AT&T along the way to make sure that you can get back to normal as quick as possible. They don't have to wait on us to totally rebuild the system to get their work done. The representative from Cox will touch on that. And AT&T, I've spoken with them. I know we're out in the field working with them. They do their own activities. We do ours. So we're working together to get you back to normal. And I'm going to end with, just like Chief Tibbetts has his generator safety key focus, I have one too, and mine is, if it's a mantra, if you will. If you have damage to your home, these are part of that 128,000, that not a total loss of a home, but if you have some damages to your meter pan, your weatherhead, right where that electric service comes in, please now get a licensed electrician, have that work done, be ready for us to get the power to you so that you can accept it when we're there. You can go to EnergyStormCenter.com. Right at the top, there's a series of links. Click on the one. It's very simple. It says, what's yours? What's ours? When you click on that, there is a graphic for both overhead service. It shows what the customer is responsible for, what Entergy is responsible for, and then underground service. It shows the same thing. So that is a very informative site. Please go there and find out what you might need an electrician to help you with so that you're able to take power from Entergy as quickly as possible. And I will end on safety. It is getting tighter and tighter with traffic. Lines are shorter. That's great for the gas, but then that means there's more cars on the street. Please be careful of our employees. Down power lines. Continue. I know you can't stay off the streets, so if you see our guys, give them a thumbs up, give them a honk of a horn. Please tell them thank you. And I just want to say thank you too, because it's a team effort, not only with Entergy and EOC, but we couldn't do it without the customers. We're here for you, and thank you.
Hi, Arthine. Thank you so much, Patrick. Okay, our next speaker is Sharon Truxillo from Cox Communications.
So, good evening, everyone. I first want to start by thanking our parish government, all of the linemen who are here now in the area, our partners at Entergy and other companies, and also our Cox crews for all of their hard work that they're doing to restore our customers while navigating very challenging situations on the ground. As I mentioned yesterday, we're dedicating all of our resources to restoring services quickly and efficiently with safety in mind. We know how important our services are to staying connected, especially during disasters. As I mentioned, we've completed our assessments in the greater New Orleans area with a few areas remaining. I'm happy to report that our crews did gain access and entry to Lafitte yesterday and are continuing to assess the damage there. So far, we've identified 73 miles of damage in New Orleans, in the metro area, and with more of about 35 miles of that here in Jefferson. This may increase once we've had the chance to fully inspect the Lafitte area. We have made great progress getting our customers back online. As of today, in our greater New Orleans market, approximately 50% of our customers are online. In Jefferson Parish, more than 30% of our customers are back online. This is a 20% increase day over day. We expect this great progress to continue. We expect to follow Entergy and work in coordination with them. As mentioned, we just don't wait around to do repairs. We're working on restoring critical facilities and restoring the network that we can and positioning ourselves to make repairs as quickly as possible. Last night I mentioned the various forms of assistance that we are providing our customers following Ida. I wanted to call out one of those again. It's our Storm Assistance Plan. This plan enables our customers to temporarily suspend services for up to 6 months. If they need to leave their home while it's being prepared and they don't want to move their services to a new location, they can use this plan. It basically pauses their accounts for up to 6 months. It enables a customer to keep their email address and phone numbers while their services are on pause. We'd like to offer a few other tips. If power is on in your home but your Cox services are down, you can try rebooting your services, your device, by unplugging the equipment. Wait 10 seconds and plug it back in. Try this. If you are having trouble navigating this, you can also reboot by calling or visiting Cox.com. Sometimes in the scenario I just described, although power may be restored to your home, the node or the power source that provides Cox services to your neighborhood may have been damaged, or it may follow a different path than the electrical power service. Power or the cable lines could also be out between the node or the neighborhood equipment and your home. We know this can be frustrating, but our technicians will be diligently working to repair those lines or any damaged lines to our network hubs or to the lines that feed the hubs to your home. Finally, we want you to know that we are working with local and parish officials to discuss ways that we can help them. Please know that we want to be your partner in this restoration effort, and we will not rest until all of our customers have been connected to their services, and we would like to thank you for your patience with us. Thank you.
That's okay. I didn't want you to drink that. COVID safe. Thank you so much, Sharon. Our next speaker is our Director of Emergency Management, Mr. Joe Valiente.
Thank you, Madam President. Good evening, everyone. So we're still fully activated in the EOC. We continue to support Louisiana National Guard Public Works medical needs and the restoration efforts in Lafitte and Grand Isle. Also, if you have any questions about our 4 pods and our other sites that are being handled by non-governmental organizations that are giving away resources, especially diapers and infant formula, call us at 349-5360, and we'll be able to tell you where those sites are located and what hours that they're operational. So I just want to mention today that we received word that Jefferson was approved for Category A through G, and those 7 categories are very important. We met the threshold, FEMA's thresholds that they set. That includes debris removal, emergency protective measures, roads, bridges, water, control facilities, building, utilities, parks, and recreational buildings. So that's a big plus for Jefferson Parish. That's going to make our recovery process move much quicker. So again, 349-5360 for non-emergency issues. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Valiente. Our East Bank Fire Chief, Chief Dave Tibbetts.
Thank you. Excuse me. Thank you, Madam President. Today, the East Bank Consolidated Fire Department continues to support the efforts of the EOC here in Gretna. Our carbon monoxide report that we give every day, we had from midnight to this point has been 31 responses. It's still fairly high. We've gotten some carbon monoxide detectors from the State Fire Marshal's office along with our yard signs, and we're very appreciative of that. We are starting the process of distributing those as needed, and we will continue. I was in touch with Dr. Jeff Carter today with the LCMC Burn Center, who is helping us with the carbon monoxide issue, so we know what to look for in the street when if we come across a victim and things of that nature. I want to be brief tonight, but I want to leave you with an acronym. It's the word RAIN, R-A-I-N. And with that acronym, we always say when you first off with the R is to recognize. Recognize a threat, a danger, or whatever it may be. In my world, it's the wires down. In the debris, it's a signal light that may not be working that you're approaching, things like that. Recognize that. The next thing is to avoid it, if possible. Stay away from the debris. Stay away from the wires. Stop at the light that's not working and treat it as a four-way stop. The next thing is to isolate that danger, if you can do that, if it's keep people away from it or whatever the case may be. And lastly is to notify the authorities. We have a great bunch of responders here and a great government facility here. Great government people running this place, and we can help you out anytime we want to do that. And I apologize, I'm kind of getting a little tired here. The last thing is that we did respond to some wire fires last night from the re-energizing that's going on. It's expected. We're ready for it. We've got some sprint teams ready to go out and evaluate those and extinguish them when necessary. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Tibbetts. As I mentioned earlier, our West Bank Fire Chief, Mr. Brian Adams, is actually assigned to Grand Isle. So we're honored to have with us our Chief from Marrero Harvey, Chief Don Robertson.
Thank you, Madam President, and I'll be brief because Chief Tibbetts' report, I will not reiterate what he stated. Of those 31 calls, there was only 4 calls for service with carbon monoxide calls today on the West Bank. Hopefully our message is getting out. And of course, as the power comes on, the generators are stopping, so that has eliminated some of the calls. There was no working fires on the West Bank today. We are continuing to put water and ice all through the entire West Bank by our firefighters. We are also, just as Chief Tibbetts said, starting to distribute carbon monoxide detectors. We have a minimum amount at this time and are expecting many more from the State Fire Marshal's office. In closing, I will say that all the firehouses on the West Bank are open. If you have a problem or a question, get to your local firehouse and ask your firefighters. They will answer that question for you, provide assistance to you, or get the answer if needed. If you cannot, dial 911 and our firefighters will respond. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chief. Okay, Director of Public Works, Mr. Mark Drews.
Thank you, Madam President. And again, I want to start by thanking our Public Works employees who finished their 9th day of 12-plus hour shifts today in order to restore our infrastructure, and every day they make significant progress. We'll start with the water system again. As I'm sure the Parish President said, we got rid of the boil water advisory on the East Bank, so now both treatment plants on the West Bank and East Bank are operating under normal conditions. And so that's one less thing I'll have to talk about. So right now we're concentrating obviously on our waterline breaks. As of the end of today, we are just over 50 mainline breaks that we have to address. We were actually addressing today 21 breaks that we were actively trying to restore. And we'll be doing similar work tomorrow. Our water director, and he had a team with him, they were down in Grand Isle today to assess the plant that we have there, the physical structures that we have there. They will be developing a short-term plan to restore water to the island. We have a booster station in Lafitte that needs to be repaired that pumps the water all the way to Grand Isle, and we also have to then do some significant repairs to the water tanks and that pumping system where the water is received from that booster station. With regard to sewer, as I've said before, all our 5 main treatment plants have always been operating throughout the event. We now have 198 of our lift stations on energy power. That's up from 145 yesterday. But again, if you just look at the ones on electric power, that's only about 37% of our system. So it is important to please continue to conserve that water that goes down the drain. Okay, try to limit the washing of clothes and take those short showers so that we can help the sewer system as it recovers. But grand total now, when you count also our lift stations that are on portable pumps or portable generators, we have 344 out of our 530 lift stations with pumping capabilities. That is 65% of our system, up from 55% yesterday. So again, we're improving day by day. With regard to our streets and parkways, they cleared 48 locations today of trees. Okay, 5 of those will allow us to now repair a water line that was damaged as a result of that tree. We had 4 trees removed from houses today, and as of today, we have now cleared every roadway in Jefferson Parish on both the East Bank and West Bank of trees across the roadway. However, there are still energy poles down blocking roads or trees with energy wires entangled in them. So we've made significant progress there, and today we're actually able to start running street sweepers on our main roadways on the West Bank, and we had crews also following them, cleaning up the medians on those major roadways and cleaning any catch basins that were on those major roadways. With regard to traffic, this is the first day I actually have some useful numbers. We have 152 signals on our parish-owned streets. As of today, we have 53 of those signals fully operational. I have an additional 16 that have power, but they have damage to them, so we'll be working to get those up and operating. And then I have 83 that do not have power. Okay, so basically I have 35% of our traffic signals that are operational. I assume that the DOTD roadways, they're in about a similar percentage. With regard to drainage, again, operations are all down in Lafitte and Barataria. As I had been saying, we had all but one pump station that was pumping down in Lafitte. Well, today we were able to make it to the Jones Point pumping station. We installed one 6-inch pump that was operating, and late this afternoon they were installing an 8-inch pump. Also, some more good news in Lafitte. The Goose Bayou Pump Station number 1, which was a total loss. The Corps had airlifted one pump that was operational as for several days. Today, they completed the operation of 2 additional pumps, which were installed and are now pumping at that Goose Bayou pump station. With regard to Barataria, I had mentioned that on Privateer Boulevard, we were able to get portable pumps running at the Pool Boat Bridge and Commodore Street. Today, we were able to get one operating at Pisani Street. With regard to the Pele pump station, which is our permanent pump station today, we were able to get that operating. However, it's intermittent. It'll operate for a while, then we have to shut it down because there's so much debris there. We have to continually clear that suction basin. But we have a crew there that stays there all day, and they continuously clear it. So we are pumping. Okay? And the last thing we did on Barataria is there's a potato levee that surrounds the Pele Canal. We put a minor breach in there, and that will allow that water to flow into the adjacent marshland. We have a crew on standby, so as soon as the water level from inside the potato levee balances with the water on the outside in the marshes, we will then repair that breach. So we're making some improvements down in Barataria. With regard to environmental, again, obviously the garbage trucks were out picking up today. The good news is that the River Birch landfill, they have gotten more staff, so they were able to open up at 5 a.m. this morning instead of 7 a.m., which helps to reduce the time it takes for our trucks when they get to the landfill to empty and get back out on the road. But again, it is still slow going because so many traffic signals are down. It is a slow process. With regard to debris collection, we had 31 trucks out throughout the parish today. The good news is that certifications of additional trucks have occurred and additional personnel that have to man those trucks are available. So tomorrow we should have over 60 trucks out picking up that vegetative debris. Also, it should be noted that our 3 drop-off locations were operating and open today. We didn't have any significant issues. That's at Lapalco Boulevard. There's one on Wall Boulevard and one at David Drive. And that gives you a summation of where we stand today in Public Works. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mark. Okay, our next speaker is Chief Administrative Assistant Sarah Babcock.
Good evening. So I'll start with talking about King's Grant. Right now we have 16 shelterees. Yesterday at this time I reported that we had 12. The 4 shelterees that came overnight last night were all hospital, people being discharged from the hospital. And so we believe with no new people coming from homes, this is a really good sign that people who are here in Jefferson Parish are currently safe in their homes. We've been working today to develop a plan to bring the 680 individuals that we evacuated out to state-run shelters, how to bring them back here to Jefferson Parish. So this return will begin on Thursday, and it will take us a few days to get everyone back. We'll be trying to assess if people's homes have power and are still habitable. If so, we will take you right back to your home where we picked you up. If your home is uninhabitable, you will go to a shelter which will be manned by the Red Cross. The Red Cross teams began delivering supplies today, and their staff will and volunteers will be in place by tomorrow afternoon. We continue to have oxygen distribution, and that will continue until all power has been restored. We are still maintaining a low levels of oxygen tanks in our fire stations, so we continue to only allow 1 tank per person per day. Today, you may have seen in the news that the Louisiana Department of Health revoked the licenses for Maison de Ville, West Jefferson, and Park Place nursing homes. If you need more information about this or are still looking for your loved one and you're in Louisiana, you can call 211. If you are outside Louisiana and need this information, you can call 1-800-755-5175. 1-800-755-5175. It's a lot of numbers to have to do in sign language. Switching over to COVID, the Louisiana Department of Health went back to daily reporting of COVID numbers today. Today in Jefferson Parish, we had a positivity rate over 10% and 2 deaths. The test results were pretty low, but that is to be expected as we have not done much testing. On that front, we've been in conversations with the National Guard. We will reopen our COVID testing site at McDonald Park at 900 Drake Avenue in Westwego on Thursday, September 9th. That will run Monday through Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. until the Alario Center Hurricane Ida recovery operations have ended. So again, it will be at McDonald Park at 900 Drake Avenue in Westwego. The other thing that has been disrupted by the hurricane is our blood supply. And so every day our hospitals and the blood center have had to ship blood in from surrounding states. And so the blood center in Metairie, their donor center, will be reopening tomorrow. That address is 2617 Edenbourne Avenue in Metairie. They will be open tomorrow, Wednesday through Saturday, 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. So they're asking anyone who is able to come out and donate blood. They particularly need people who are willing to donate platelets. So as the parish president said, sometimes in these situations it's good, you may feel the need to help. If animals aren't your thing, to volunteer at the animal shelter, maybe giving blood can be that way for you to help the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Again, that concludes our daily briefing for today. Please, everybody, stay safe, and thank you for tuning in. We work very hard to get this information together for you. As you can see, every day we make progress that we're very proud of. So thank you so much for tuning in.